Let's switch this up. Okay, here we go. You can't hear a word I'm saying. All right, now you can. I should have checked that before I hit play. All right, so let me start that over because y'all didn't hear none of that. Real quick, when I do topics, and I only got a couple, so I won't be on here very long. And you done already missed like 4 minutes of me ranting. But so when I do topics, right, for my show, which at this point is in flux, I may stay on Sunday, so Fridays. Wednesdays is too. It takes too much for me to do the show on Wednesday. Friday is a lot, although it's not an ideal day because of viewership. It's a much better day for me just to be able to do the show, and then y'all watch it when you watch it. You know what I'm saying? Like if you don't watch this live, watch it when you watch it. But when I do my show, I be trying to decide: am I gonna give you the Moo version, or am I gonna give you the Speedo version? You can get the Moo version, and just think about scrap. What's the difference between the Moo version and the Speedo version? Here's the difference. The difference is a Moo covers everything, but don't touch nothing. A Speedo covers one essential part, and that's it. that's it. It covers one essential part, and that's it. Right? This is where I'm at. This is where I'm at with it. Switch these two. So there's really only one topic that I want to go kind of in depth about. Shout out to my girl Ms. No Mills for this one that I'm getting to right after the intro. But here's the first thing I want to say. I am directing this specifically to MAGA fans, but really not fans, Trump supporters in general, especially MAGA. Even though the message is only going to hit the supporters, it's not really going to hit MAGA because let's face it, you don't care. So we've already come to grips with that. We've come to grips with the fact that you don't care what he does. Like he could do exactly what he said he did in his first campaign election and shoot somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue, you would still vote for him. But then had the audacity to talk about criminals. You got some nerve. You got some for real nerve. Anyway, it's audacity. But here's the thing. The reason, despite the current president's continued bashing of this man, Barack Obama was considered a great president worldwide for one reason and one reason only. He upheld the one thing that the current president seems to not really grasp. Barack Obama went forth and presented himself as the moral authority of the nation that he was the commander in chief of. Right? When you are the president of the United States of America, you serve as the moral authority of that nation. So when you go out as a representation of the United States. So when you go out, you start talking trash about your citizens. That's a problem. when you go out and you start talking trash about different things that's going on in this country, and it's known or it's even perceived around the nation that you have a propensity towards a particular complexity of people and disproportionately um, have a dislike and disassociation with the darker complected people, which makes one wonder. Now, I've often said, I've consistently said, I've continuously said that I do not believe that Donald Trump is a primary racist. There's more than just two things. There's more than primary and secondary. People may not know what's beyond secondary because we really don't get past the second thing. It's like the third thing really isn't important. But there are tertiary things that, that you can be. You know, Donald Trump is a primary, and this is my opinion. Completely, this is my notorious opinion. You can take it or leave it. But Donald Trump, in my notorious opinion, is a primary classist. He's not a primary racist. He's a secondary racist, but he's a primary classist. If you are in his class and you're black, you're cool. If you are in his class and you are Latino, you're all right. If you are in his class and you're white, you're going to come in front of the black dude and the Latino dude. Just 100, because now his secondary racism is about to kick in. But he don't hate all black people. He just don't like you if you ain't got no money. If you got money and you black, oh, you cool. He might not really mess with you like that, but you cool. Still inherently racist. Anyway, so that I believe is why, in many people's eyes, Barack Obama was a good president. Now, were there knocks against him in the black community? Absolutely. But we wasn't trying to knock the fact that the man was who he was. We wasn't trying to deny his citizenship. We wasn't, you know what I'm saying? It's like we had way more cultural issues with Barack Obama than all this bull crap's coming out now. But everything that the current president is doing, making videos with him and his wife as monkeys. Really? Monkeys? You couldn't come up with nothing more original than that? Come on, man. I know you could do better than that. No, you really can't. Like, even with a lot of thought, I don't think he could do better than that. You know what I'm saying? But it just is what it is. The president of the United States is supposed to be the moral authority of the nation. And if Donald Trump is currently the moral authority of this nation, we about to see some new laws passed for rape, for sodomy, for pedophilia, and just overall trash behavior. Let's get it. Once again, shout out to Ms. No Mills for this first one. I was looking at Facebook. So First off, uh, shout out to my cousin Rhonda Cheadle. Today's her birthday. Happy birthday, cousin. Uh, and as I was on Facebook, and I think I was responding to her quote. Uh, I seen a I seen something from Ms. No Mills, and it was saying uh, to the effect of black people got enough trauma. Do we make up more stuff to traumatize us currently even further? So for quite some time, there have been, I ain't gonna say quite some time. I really only I've heard of this for years, 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 years. You know what I'm saying? I've heard of this for decades, but it really became a trend once it hit TikTok. When it hit TikTok, then it blew up, went viral, and all black people that just want to believe stuff like this grabbed it, right? And it kind of spawned the um the grand rising movement. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with saying grand rising, just because it just feels better. But you know what I'm saying? So there's nothing wrong with grand rising. I support grand rising. But the reason why grand rising kind of became a bigger thing in the black community with, quote unquote conscious woke. I've been awoke, but not in that way. It's just my inner intelligence tells me a whole lot of things that other people don't really understand, and that's okay. You haven't had the time to sit down and think about it. I have. So, so when we're talking about grand rising, right? Grand rising really started to blossom and bloom because good morning was said to have been a phrase used by slave owners to mock slaves who had either just suffered a murder in their family by the slave master or the community or whatever, or had a loved one sold to another plantation. And so the next day in the AM, they would say that the slave master would say, "Good morning," as a slight. You know what I'm saying? Not like grand rising. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like that. It was a dig. You know. Now I'm not saying that it's not true. Technically, technically, I kind of am saying it's not true. But realistically, I'm not saying it's not true. Like in reality, because who says that you have to go off of the actual meanings of the word? Like most of these slave masters were not bright. Let's just keep it a bill. They weren't bright, you know. Uh so this one I'm gonna cover like a moo. We're gonna do the moo on this one. So the the notion against the reality of slave masters using good morning as a slight, a dig, or a slap in the face to slaves is this: the etymologies don't match. There's two different etymologies. Like the etymology of morning, which breaks down a word. That's what an etymology does. And etymology breaks down the word into where it originated from, its country of origin, what it originally meant, right? And the original meaning of Uh, what's up, fam? It's not that I don't like him. I don't give a damn about him. I just don't agree with his tactics. You know what I'm saying? Because I kind of see right through him. Because gas is like $3 again. Because you done attacked Iran. Anyway, I digress. What's up, though, bro? My guy Alex, man, that's my brother. Uh, so the thing about the etymologies don't match, right? Like the etymology of morning goes back to Germanic, and it really means like dawn or like before noon. You know what I'm saying? So, which is also where AM comes from. Please, for the love of Ray J, like that's because that kind of cuts into one of my pet peeves. I'm gonna touch on that here in a second. That's gonna be a speedo. But here's the thing. So the etymology, and I know it's real because the one I don't remember a lot from school because albeit I didn't know what I was doing at the time, I didn't let school get in the way of my education. Like I read books outside of school. You know, the books I read outside of school helped me out way more than the books I read in school. So, but here's one thing I did learn because this is one class I did like. I liked foreign language, right? When I went to school, foreign language, you had three languages. You had Spanish, French, and German. Those are the three languages that you took in foreign language, right? Spanish I took too, of course, because it was the more predominant language in America outside of English, right? Um, French I kind of wanted to learn because I felt like girls would like if I spoke French to them. They said it was one of the romantic languages, so that's the only reason I wanted to learn. I wanted to learn French and German. I really didn't give a damn about because as soon as I hear Germany, I think of Hitler. So I ain't give a damn about that. But there's one thing I remember from German: Guten Morgen. That is how you say good morning in German. Guten Morgen, right? Morgen is one of the breakdowns of the etymology of morning. So I know that's what it means. I learned that. I ain't gonna say how many years ago, but it was a while. It was decades, right? So I know that's real. Mourning always has meant sadness, grief, things like that. It was the etymology of uh mourning is mirthen, right? And the thing about the two words, they are what? Not homonyms, they're homophones, right? They're homophones. They sound the same, but mean two totally different things. So I guess I could say academically, it could be true. Now, fuck all that. Here's the thing. Again, it's not like these slack jawed people that that held people in bondage. Well, they wouldn't held people in slavery, right? It's not like these slave owners was the sharpest tools in the shed, right? They couldn't spell etymology, let alone know what it is. All they know, this word sound like this word, and this word mean this, but I can say it like this and hurt their feelings. They might have really done that. I don't know. But the etymology of the word says that mourning. So if you're saying that slave masters said this as a dig to slaves, that could actually be true, right? And I actually could believe that, right? But if you're saying that good morning means good morning as MOU, not MO. If you're saying that that is what it really meant, then I must disagree. I have to disagree because it's wrong. Because it didn't mean that. Those two words are diametrically opposed to each other. They have nothing to do with each other at all, other than the sound. That is it. That is all. Other than the sound, there's nothing those two words have in common. Now, with that being said, slave master still could have said it. So, to fact check it, you'll fact check the etymology and be like, nah, these two words don't mean similar or the same thing. So it couldn't have been that. But to fact check it, in personal reality, it could absolutely be true. All right. What else? What else do I want to touch? I was gonna touch on this Iranian war, but the only thing I really got to say about that is if you have any family members that that are in the armed services, and then they found out they was being shipped to Iraq, there was absolutely no reason for the United States to involve themselves in a war with Iran. None whatsoever. Just like there was absolutely no reason for us to involve ourselves in a war with Iraq. So, the same way the Trump administration lied about shooting Alex Pretty in the back, the same way the Bush administration lied about the reason why we invaded Iraq, is going to be the exact same reason why the second Trump administration, this Trump administration, lies about why they invaded Iran. Because let's face it, they do not have a problem with getting in front of a congressional committee on live TV and lying. They don't have no problem with it. None whatsoever. Because they believe that the next president is going to be a Republican too. It's not going to be Trump. I don't know why he got y'all believing that he's gonna serve a third term as president. I don't understand why you believe that. Now, while he is making a complete mockery of the U.S. Constitution, right? There are certain things that are strongholds within the U.S. Constitution. And while the Democrats don't have a lot of voting power, they got enough to stop his ass. So all that 2/3 shit ain't gonna happen. Unless you just plan to not leave and make the Secret Service that protected you for 4 years drag your ass out kicking and screaming. Here's another thing, and I did not mean to talk about this damn war, but it's not really about the war. When he was in the press conference talking about midnight barrage or whatever the hell he did, I mean, he just wanted to, oh my God. Anyway, when he was talking about the attack against Iran, he went from explaining that we were in a military war with Iran to talking about, did you see the new drapes? I picked out those drapes. I am not playing. This motherfucker said he went from talking about a war where he sent everybody's family to go and risk their lives for nothing. And within a split second, it was like, how do you like these drapes? Yeah, I picked those drapes. Me. Melania doesn't like them. She doesn't like any of the construction because, you know, they're making a lot of noise from 6 o'clock in the morning till 11 o'clock at night, but I love it. I don't have a problem with it in the drapes. What? Are you freaking serious right now? Come on, man. Y'all voted for him. Y'all did that. Y'all the reason that gas is going up $3 a gallon again. Y'all did that. I don't know what it is nowhere else, but in Kansas City, Missouri, gas is like $2.98 right now. Right? When 2 weeks ago, before knowledge of this whole war happened, gas was like $2.40. It's crazy, right? Anywho, yeah. Oh, last thing, Speedo. So one of um one of my pet peeves is when people say, okay, so if somebody asks me, hey, what time do we have to be there? And I say 5 a.m. and they say in the morning, what the fuck does AM mean? AM means in the morning, right? AM is morning, right? AM is morning. You know that. Everybody knows that. AM, morning, PM, evening. Everybody knows that. Why the fuck would you ask me that if I said 5 a.m.? Breathe. I be having to for real woosah myself back to calm, because it's things that we know, and I don't know why we need to do that, you know. And maybe it's me. I can't even blame anybody else. Maybe it's me. But, but that I got it. That is a huge pet peeve of mine. What time we got to be there? 9 p.m. at night? Nah, nah, not at night. I don't know. I don't know when you go, show up at 9 in the morning. Get there at 9 in the morning. See who there with you. That's all I can tell you. I've given you all of the pertinent information. To the person that asked me what time we had to be there, I said 5 a.m. and you said in the morning, and I just looked at your ass like you was crazy. There it is, right? To the person that asked me what time we got to be there, and I said 9 p.m. and you like at night, and I just looked at you crazy. There it is. Figure it out for yourself, because I've given you all of the pertinent information that I'm capable of giving you without spazzing the fuck out. So there it is. Those are my rants. Uh, you know, um, hold on. Let me backtrack a little bit. Back to the good morning, right? This is what that reminded me of. I was just thinking, how the hell did somebody even come up with that? Let's say that it's not true at all. And there was not one slave master that came up with this, but it was some quote unquote woke black person that decided they was going to make the shit up, as people on the internet are suggesting, right? What the hell did that look like? Like, who was just sitting down and just thinking up some shit to come? This is why I half-ass believe it, because it's more believable to believe that slave masters was taunting the slaves saying good morning than thinking that somebody was just sitting back, you know what I'm saying, just on some more ha-ha type shit, and was like, yeah, how can I take these two words that sound alike to rile up black people? Aha. I'm going to say, who the fuck was doing that? Who did that? Who came up with that? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of why I believe it's true. Because again, we're not talking about intelligent individuals. We talking about slave masters, man. They had whips and guns, you know. Anyway, like I said, I was not going to be on here long. Is there anything? Oh, there is something else I want to talk about real quick. This is gonna be some speedo shit. I be talking about shit that I know about, and I just wanted to, kind of give y'all some information and get your feedback and input. But in the event that because I saw this I don't know what platform I was on, but it wasn't Facebook, so it had to be Instagram or TikTok. But it was a brother that got pulled over by the police. I love giving. I love giving legal information. I cannot give you legal advice. So this is not legal advice. This is legal information. Yeah, it's legal information. So it was a black man that got pulled over by a Caucasian cop, right? And he was told to remove himself from the car. When the man inside the car asked why, the Caucasian officer said, "Because I am the law and I said so. I am the law." That is incorrect. That is implicitly incorrect. Police officers are not the law. They are supposed to be, constitutionally, the agents that uphold the law. They are not themselves the law, because if they were themselves the law, they could create the law as they go along. Now, that's kind of what they be trying to do. But as my brother Green Eyes would always say, I'm trying to think how he said it. He's like, if you don't know your rights, you have no rights. If you don't know your rights, KNOW, you have no rights. NO. Also homonyms. No, homonyms. This is the subtext of this particular podcast. Subtext of tonight's notoriously opinionated. Homonyms. Morning. No and no. Sound alike, mean completely different things. The more you know. Anyway, so you got to be a certain age to know about anything I just said within the last 15 seconds. Anyway, so here's the thing. They are not the law. They are supposed to be. And I say that dramatically. Supposed to be. The authority that upholds the law, because if they were the law, then they will be able to change the law, which is why they oftentimes change the law, because you don't know the law and you don't know your rights. And so they can change it and tell you that this is what it is, because the police can lie to you legally. And you don't know whether they're lying or not, because you don't know your rights. And if you don't know your rights, they tell you what your rights are. And it's not true. So, basic rights. The Constitution governs what police officers can and cannot do, and they are not the law. They cannot create laws. However, if you don't know your rights, you're more than likely going to get victimized, and that's just what it is, Okay. My goal and objective for my show is to make America focus again. uh to make America care again. There's a lot of things I can do with the M, A, and the A. Uh, uh, I ain't gonna say that one. Anyway, let's go with those two. Modify. Make America focus again. And Maka. Make America care again. How about that? I like that way more than Make America Great Again, because who in the fuck? When was it great? When was the first time? So we trying to do it again. Again means to, return to a previous state. That's again. I'm trying to figure out when y'all talking about America was great. I'm not saying you wrong, because, there is a thing called objective truth. You did? So your objectivity or subjectivity may be right to you. So, to you, America was great at a particular point in time. You talking about slavery? 17, 1800s? Is that the time frame you was talking about when America was great? That you want to return to? We trying to make America return to that again? Yeah. Get rid of the slavery clause in the 13th Amendment. Anyway, that has been my show. I think I might stay on Fridays. You know what I'm saying? I got a brother. Hold on, because I got to get the name of his show correct before I mention it. Mama, if you don't quit texting me while I'm trying to do. Yes, sir. All right. My brother Hollywood, my brother Mustafa, same person. They don't sound alike, but they're the exact same person. Has a show called Concrete University. It's on Wednesdays at 7 o'clock, right? Wednesdays at 7. So tune in. That's not why I left Wednesdays either. I would have, you know what I'm saying, just to make sure that my brother has his own slot, which is also, so it's another cat that I know. He got a show on Tuesdays, right? So this is when I first started. He had a podcast before me. Let's Talk, right? So Let's Talk was on Tuesdays. So I said I don't want to compete with him, you know what I'm saying, and because it was on at the same time, So I was like, okay, I'm gonna move my show to Wednesday and let him do Tuesday. So he had Let's Talk Tuesday. Notoriously Opinionated was on Wednesday. But now Concrete University is on Wednesday. I had already decided that I was moving to Friday anyway. Honestly, I just decided that I was moving my day because Wednesday just was not working for me no more. But I decided that I was going to move it to Friday because I had a lot more flexibility within my day. So I like Friday as a day to do the show. So I believe I'm going to stay on Friday. Now, for viewership reasons, Friday is really not a great day to do a podcast because around 5 o'clock, everybody's getting off work. 6 o'clock, everybody's getting ready to go out. Right? I'm okay with that. I'm still going to market the show. I'm going to start marketing it on Friday. I think I'm going to go from 6 to 7. And those that can catch it. Those that can't, catch the rebroadcast, right? My show, Notoriously Opinionated, is broadcast on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Twitch, and Instagram right now, right? So there's a lot of people watching on a lot of different platforms. I, however, can only see the people that's watching on Facebook for some reason. I don't know if it's Facebook or YouTube that I can see. Anyway, but until next time, if this is your first time tuning in, Notoriously Opinionated, welcome. If you've been rocking with the kid for 5 years, I've been doing this show for 5 years. Oh my freaking God. I was counting episodes and all that. I don't have the patience or the time to go back and see what episode this is. I'm gonna have to do that one day. One day, I'm gonna have to take the time and go back and see how many episodes I actually have of Notoriously Opinionated. It's a lot, but and since they're all on YouTube, it'd be kind of easy. All I gotta do is count. All right, so I'm gonna let you know here in a few weeks what episode we on now. After 5 years of Notoriously Opinionated, So yeah. Until next time, we have a new Notorious time and a new Notorious day, right? Same Notorious stations. Until next time, it's been your man, Scrap the Film Guru, and I'm out. Peace.